Tina, pleasure to have you on this episode of Vaartaalaap. How are you doing?
Thank you. Doing great. And yeah, pleased to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
So, for my viewers, Tina is a founder of Emma Amsterdam, a clothing related company. She's also a partner at Energy Circles, currently based out of Amsterdam, and more than 6+ years of work experience. So, first things first, Tina, how come entrepreneurship? Where did this journey start for you?
Um, Good question. I mean, and entrepreneurship is a mindset, right?
Yeah.
I think for me, it started, I've always questioned how things are done. Like I have a business administration background, bachelor's and master's, and I questioned the whole thing. So I was like, okay, how are we doing business and how does that work? And we live in, like in the now where, and still talk about profit equals purpose.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, there must be a different way, and looking into different kind of things. And then I ended up how it works, law of attraction. I always believed in it. And then I ended up being with Energy Circles around 3 years ago, a bit over 3 years ago.
Mhm.
And Energy Circles was at that time already in the implementation phase of a self-management tool.
Mhm.
And all this created a lot of distribute authority, embracing different kind of talents and skills of people. And in me, that just for me, this was the perfect environment to just be an entrepreneur. And
Mhm.
out of that, also projects like Emma were founded, and others.
Mhm.
But it was the whole spirit that we have created around that. So yes,
One of one
please.
of the one of the things that you said was fit for purpose versus fit for profit, and that's very highly reflected on your profile as well. So, the place where I come from, corporate world, there is a lot of talk of corporate social responsibility. Is fit for purpose for you similar to those kind of projects wherein companies are investing in CSR work, philanthropic? Is that fit for purpose for you or something else?
I would define it a bit differently, but what I think is that the CSR actions and projects that are usually being, like done by organizations, that they're probably one result of the things that we are doing, for example, but a
Mm-hmm.
small one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, like if I talk about purpose, we are organized around purpose. So we do everything to reach a higher purpose in our organization. And at Energy Circles, that's transforming the oil and gas industry, which sounds crazy to a lot of people because it's one of the most regulated and like static industries of our times, very traditional approaches. But I mean, what it brings with it is the people that we as people working together, we also have this inner drive of living our purpose. So first discovering it, living it, connecting it to the organization. So to me, comparing it to CSR practices, it's way deeper because it's being rolled out in all the areas of the organization.
Okay, but is it only limited to oil and gas industry, or are you looking at other industries as well?
Well, you got to know. So my purpose is to, my mission is to unify the world. And I do this in breaking down boundaries to connect worlds and to connect the world. And I'm living this through different kind of channels. So I live this through Energy Circles, and the context there happens to be the oil and gas industry,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is amazing because it covers so many different areas of our world. It's representing the bigger. Then I also do this in the textile industry because I just love it. And it happens to be that the partner of Emma, he's in Istanbul. So it's like this network was created. And then I also live it through different kind of channels. So I'm practically living, like power shift in terms of network-based working through, living my purpose through different kind of channels to make a positive impact in the world.
But how do you define a purpose? How
For
do
the
you define
process,
how process of it? Plus, how do you define a purpose if it's a different industry apart from oil or gas or textile, and somebody wants to create a network out of it, build a purpose, and change the way the industry works? How do you go about doing it? Maybe the process of it.
Um, so I mean, like everybody has a different kind of purpose, right? An individual purpose, and then you connect it to like the organizational purpose, for example, which is different for every organization.
Yeah.
And we work with one process, which is which is facilitated by the True Purpose Institute from California, Tim Kelly. And it's a process where every partner at our organization is being guided through. And this process gets you to understand your purpose in life. Like, it doesn't say you're making a change in the oil and gas industry, but it says, for example, like my purpose is not directly connected to the oil and gas industry, but I can definitely live it through the oil and gas industry.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like, for example, today, I would not work with a foreign organization that is not, giving me this room to live my purpose and to manifest it into the world.
So
I'm not sure if I'm answering your question here, but
yeah, I mean, some of it seems like philosophy as well, and some of it is more process oriented as to how individual goals can be linked to corporate or a group of people goals, and then you use them to repurpose somebody's life towards making a positive impact. That's how I relate to it. So not too sure if that's the perfect answer to what I was asking, but seems like it's on those lines. Finding your purpose. A lot of people who work in corporate world these days, that's why I mentioned CSR. What happens is they connect to certain goal specific projects, CSR projects,
yes,
and then they try to find purpose in their work. Not only the
yes,
business things that they are doing, but the purpose or where they feel their inkling lies, they associate themselves to that. So possibly it's on those lines. That's how I feel. Since you are doing more on the oil and gas industry right now, I'm not too familiar with that industry particularly.
but it's often the kind of like the separation is made between I need to earn money and I want to live my purpose. And
Yeah.
what we're doing is bringing those two worlds together.
Okay.
And we're a bit like on the pioneering side of the progressive work movement. We're the 8th company in the world now that is implementing the for purpose enterprise, which is practically making things very tangible and practical to live your purpose, but also being rewarded or compensated for the energy you're putting in and what you're contributing to the purpose. And I think this is where it often gets confusing, because we're making a difference here, but we say no, it needs integration and inclusion to make it a whole approach.
Okay. I mean, what could be a specific of having this purpose, cultivating a purpose in an oil gas industry? So I know the impact oil and gas industry causes on the environment, and if I wish to associate myself with the purpose and say I want to reduce emissions and the carbon footprint, will that constitute a purpose for you or somebody who wants to work in that industry?
I mean, we have yes, that's one part of it, right? It's one part on the innovation side. How we are working is, what we believe in is that this industry didn't start out of like bad intentions or so, right? It really served our society. And if I would give you a button today and would say press this button and the oil and gas industry would disappear in this moment, you would probably not push the button, because it would completely disrupt our industry. So what we're saying, there is a lot of potential, positive potential in this industry as well, but we do have somewhat like a culture issue, right? So what we're doing, we believe in leading by example, and what we're doing is we are doing the change from the inside out, in starting with ourselves and then changing the culture from the inside out.
Okay.
So to us, everything starts with us individuals, and as we are getting more mature and understanding how things are being connected, it results in our behavior and in relationships that we are building. So if your passion then and your skills lies in reducing the emissions, for example, then this is what you do to serve this purpose, because the purpose is in transforming the oil and gas industry from the inside out, in unleashing positive potential, and this is definitely one of the parts.
Okay, cool. I get it now. So one thing also on your profile is Holacracy. That's a very
Yes.
interesting term. What is that?
Holacracy is a self-management tool,
Okay.
and the basics of it are practically, I mean, it's about, if you compare it to a traditional hierarchy, we're having a very flat approach. We're talking about circles, we're talking about distribute authority. We don't have a job position anymore, but we have roles. So for example, I'm holding 26 roles in our organization. And the point is, I can move around and, kind of like do whatever I can provide. So whatever skills and talents I want to make use of or develop on. And we have clear accountability. So there is no room for, expectations is usually a big thing, that people are having expectations. You do somewhat like marketing. So I think you also do website and, you do some logo. Holacracy doesn't leave the room for it. And the biggest difference to a traditional setup is that it's organized around work. So it's not organized around people. In traditional organizations is often, I know you, so you can do me a favor, or, like someone has an affair. I don't know. It's like, I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but there's a lot of room, for example, for usually, I don't know, politics, for example. And that has no space in Holacracy, because everything what you're doing is you're doing rational decisions, and you interact role to role to serve a higher purpose of the organization. So we have a separation between emotional and rational decision making.
So is it a new term of philosophy or a management practice that has been coined from somewhere? Where is the source of holacracy?
Sorry, like,
So where is the source? Is it coming as a management philosophy, or it was
it's an operating system.
okay?
That's it. It's an operating system like sociocracy or other other self-management practices. It
Okay.
happens that it's covering things like agile and those kind of
Okay.
philosophies.
Okay. That's a very interesting thing. I mean, good to learn about it. So one thing we are also part of is we live in digital times. So there is a clamor for digital tools and techniques to be able to run businesses. We are confined to our home. We are trying to have an interaction here over a digital medium. How is
Yes.
it that you are using digital tools in your business currently, and what kind of digital tools you have to rely on?
Well, Holacracy. So I have to say also, we work a lot remotely. So in our organization, in current times, for us, it's not a big difference. We do have usually like 2-3 office days a week, but the rest we work digitally anyways. We do meetings, for example, they are being facilitated. We are our operating system, ClassRock, which is all digital. I mean, our whole communication, Slack is directly linked to it. Our governance, we do this way. So pretty much we live in a digital environment.
Okay, okay. So you have your own startup into area of textiles. Are you managing the production as well on site in Netherlands, or are you outsourcing it to countries like India, Bangladesh? How is it for you?
So we started out with bootstrapping with Emma, still do, and it was founded in the Netherlands. And one of the partners, so we have 3 partners. One of the partners is born and raised and lives in Istanbul,
Okay.
and he comes out of the textile industry. So what we are figured, because our purpose is sustainable textile, like Emma's purpose is a sustainable clothing brand, and sustainable on all levels. For us, that means development every day, reinventing every day and just moving. So what we've seen is we had quite some challenges on the production side. We did look for suppliers and factories in Istanbul. We worked with some, but we always got to our limits. So what we did is we founded our own production company called Neu Textil, out of this tension, and starting small, but like trying to incorporate all areas. And what grew out of that is we work together now as a network. So we have production, we have a dyeing company, we have a printing, we have an environmental engineer, but everybody is an own institution. And what we do is we learn from each other as a network and try to support each other on this way. So some people have like they want to have a more flat culture because it's a family business since 30 years, you know. So we support on that side. Or we're working on, we have, for example, a project of 100% natural dyes, because organic dyeing is not natural, right? So we looked at what is 100% natural. So that was with the dye house. So we like, also here we are working distributed in a complete different cultural context, because complete different value systems. So a lot of things are just differently executed than here in the Netherlands, where the value system is very different. Progressive work is very popular, you know, so different challenges, but a similar approach.
Okay. So coming to, if somebody has to join energy circles, but they are
Yes,
interested in another industry apart from oil and gas,
yes.
that's focus area of energy circles, what should they be doing?
But you mean like joining as a partner,
Yes.
working?
Yeah.
Yes. Um, well, I mean, like, I'm working in different industries as well, right? So a lot of people at energy circles are not 100% also involved with energy circles. So I'm also,
Yeah.
for example, they're 70% and then do like other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But there needs to be purpose alignment. But as said before, it's just a context, right? The oil and gas industry is one context.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't exclude other industries, because in the end, it's all connected anyways. What we're learning in the oil and gas industry, we can easily put in the textile, we can easily put it in the health sector. So having this kind of approach makes it really holistic. And this is how we work at Energy Circles. So we believe that everybody who joins is bringing different kind of perspective and skills and talents to the table. We can integrate and we can, you know, make it a whole.
Okay, and what would be the size of energy circles? How many members till date? Would you have an idea on that?
How many we are now?
Yes, in energy
Yeah,
circles.
we are 18
Oh,
now, but like constantly growing. We have every month now new people on being onboarded.
great. I mean, that's a concept which I liked. So possibly I'll look to see if there are any synergies for alignment in the future. But it's something very interesting.
Yes,
Great, Tina. Good perspectives. Something new for our viewers today. And I'm sure everybody will be able to appreciate it. And in future, we can touch base on maybe other subjects as well. Thanks for your
great.
time today. And thanks a lot. I wish you safety and health in these COVID times. So take care and thanks a lot.
Thank you. Same for you.
Bye bye.